hundreds of millions of people are watching chiropractors do these things to folks. And the crazy thing is like these chiropractors saying like, this person drove 1,000 miles for this adjustment. Yeah. And I'm like, so you drove past, 200,000 chiropractors to go to that one. Why in the world would you do that? I drove an hour to get to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I drove an hour to get to you. So, all right. So, but before we go there, you're known as the mindset doctor, all right? But when I came to get you, we came out to some motley crew today because after I came to see you, I was like, no, he's Dr. Feelgood.
That's right, yeah, because for years, you didn't know me as the chiropractor. I obviously was a chiropractor, but it wasn't until we actually talked about it, and then you came to see me, got to actually experience it, and it was different because you've been adjusted before, but that was something different for sure.
Well, it was, like for a couple decades, Doc, I was there was always these things that just bothered me, like aches and pains or just nagging little like pulls in your back or something like that, and I could never quite get it. I could get temporary relief, but it was always a short-term solution for a long-term problem.
Right.
So it never really worked out. And I just happened to mention to you, I was like, dude, do you know anybody that does these moves that I was showing you on, I think it was Facebook Reels? And you were like, well, I do, Nick.
Yep.
And I was like, well, then we need to come to see you.
Right.
As a matter of fact, we need to come back to see you because it's been a minute. But all right, so let's tell people what we're kind of talking about here. So, because we've been sending a lot of videos back and forth. All right, some that were serious and some that were kind of humorous. However, the videos were real. All right, so. Yep. We're talking about there's videos of people doing where they're pulling people's heads. Like there's one, I think it's in China, where they put people in this traction unit, and then there's like a wheel that he cranks, and it literally lifts them off the ground. Right. What the hell is that?
And it does traction out the spine, but there's better ways to do that. And even around here in Nashville, there's a lot of decompression clinics. Like if you really have a disc issue, decompression is really good for that. They just have a really unorthodox way of doing it. It hoists you in the air, pulling your neck up, but it is a form of decompression and it does work.
So like, sometimes and with the people that were adjusting me in the past, sometimes I might ask about a move and they would always tell me why they didn't like to do that move. So there's obviously, I guess anytime you're manipulating a spine, there's always a little risk.
Right.
To a certain degree, maybe.
Yeah, you've definitely got to be trained because some people want to watch the TikTok videos like, oh, I can do that at home. And you can actually hurt people if you don't know what you're doing.
And one of the, you hear a lot of times the adjuster, the chiropractor will look at the patient and say, they'll grab their head and move around a little bit. They're like, you pop your own neck.
Yeah.
How do y'all know that?
Well, you can become hypermobile. So yeah, it's all about the ligaments, the muscles around the neck. So you can feel for somebody who just does it themselves and does it way too much.
And there's there's one of the the more famous ones, the one that they call it the magic hug, I think, but it's the one that you did to Rhiannon and I.
Yeah, the bear hug, the magic hug, but yeah, and it for you really had to reset the ribs because you have some rib heads that were out for sure, and yeah, that's a powerful adjustment too, just to get everything moving.
It like when Rhiannon when it happened to her, she literally it released like tears and stuff, like she almost started crying.
Yeah, and we notice that a lot. You can have an emotional response because it's affecting the nervous system, and the nervous system stores past trauma and emotions and different things as well. So things can come up as you start to clear the nervous system out and kind of reset the nervous system. Yeah, we've had emotional responses. We've had sometimes people go home get the best sleep of their life just because you're trying to reset that nervous system.
So let's hang there for a minute because this is like when you first started talking about some of these things, it was the first time I'd ever heard it. Okay. So I'm going to tell my story for a minute. So I remember in college as a catcher, there was always this little spot on my left side that a lot of times during the games, it was usually when I was sleep deprived or maybe I'd had too much caffeine, that spot would bother me. And I'd literally get somebody to take their elbow and just jam it in there. And then I'd run back out on the field and finish playing, just get in there and it would just give me some relief. It would hurt so bad that it felt good, Yeah. And then even all the in the pro ball and everything else, that was always the spot, even doing just sit-ups or something, that was the spot, I'm doing abs, yet it was what felt like my neck that was bothering me when it was really my back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in pro ball was the first time I'd ever had a muscle spasm. And then it put me on the the disabled list.
Right.
And I can remember them digging in, and that was when I learned that the source, or what was hurting, wasn't the source of the problem.
Yep.
It hardly ever is. And that was the first time I'd ever really, like, somebody had popped my back intentionally, and I was like, "What was that?"
Right.
Like, that was life changing, and how do I get more? And then the first time somebody took my released my neck, I was like, whoa. I was scared to death, though.
Right.
That first time, it's real scary, having somebody jerk you around. But, like, so you say these things about your nervous system, and when I'm framing this question, it's taking forever, but I'm gonna get there. My grandmother, who, as we're sitting here today recording this, we're actually having a memorial for her this Friday, where she recently passed. But when she was, when I was a younger kid, she was extremely intelligent. We would have called, in the old days, we would have called her a hippie, because she liked natural solutions, all the things that we're really studying and getting serious about now. She was kind of talking about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And she used to go to the chiropractor, but the chiropractor back then was the witch doctor.
Right. Yep.
It wasn't modern medicine.
That's right.
Well, look at how far we've come.
Yeah, come a long way. Absolutely. Yeah, and especially this movement now. Like, you got Robert Kennedy Jr., who's going in with his Make America Healthy Again. Like, there's a whole movement of people wanting to be healthier. From take the chemicals that we have out of our food to just people are waking up to, man, we got to live pretty unhealthy over here in this country. And chiropractic happens to be one of the things that helps get people healthy.
Well, it's, your body's meant to move, first of all. And so I actually, I don't think a lot of folks actually know that pop that happens. Like, literally, when I was a kid, we were told if you pop your knuckles, you're going to be paralyzed in your fingers. You know what I mean? Like, that's
right.
So, but then I remember it was probably 10 or 15 years ago, it was like an X-ray video where they showed the little air pocket, and when the adjustment happened, the air pocket was gone.
Yeah. That's all it is a release of air. So just like you hear when you pop your knuckles, that's just air releasing. It's gas that's in the joint that releases. And the same thing with your neck. Like, when you get your neck adjustment, that's all it is. It's just air coming out of the joint. A lot of times it freaks people out because it's loud, because it's right there by your ears. So sometimes it can be really loud, but there's really nothing to that. It's just air coming out of the joint. Where the power is actually getting pressure off the nervous system itself. Because when you go to a neurologically focused chiropractor, what we're doing is we're inputting signals into the brain to reset that nervous system. So that's what we're looking to do, is because the nervous system is controlling every function of our body. And right now, that's been a big trend in social media, is nervous system regulation. So people doing like deep breathing and cold plunges and things to regulate their nervous system, which all those are great.
Yeah.
But when there's actually misalignments in the spine, it starts with dyskinesia, which is improper movement, leads to disafferentation, the signals to the brain, and then that leads to dysautonomia, affecting the nervous system. And the nervous system is controlling everything in your body, from your immune system, your digestive system, your reproductive system, hormonal system. Everything's controlled by the nervous system. So by getting adjusted by a neurologically focused chiropractor, along with doing the other things to regulate your nervous system, the body just starts working better. And the body starts to heal and function at a higher level.
Yeah. It's so how does the air get in? How does the gas get in there? Like, where does it come from? Because it takes up space, right? That's what you don't understand, is it takes up space. You can feel it.
Yeah. And they're called synovial joints. So the same things in the knuckles, they're all along the spine as well. So, I mean, there's joints like that all everywhere. That's why sometimes your knees pop or your shoulders pop. That's all just gas within a joint capsule. And then when that air releases, it takes time and it just fills back up. And that's why you can't pop your knuckles over and over at the same time, because it takes time for that gas to actually get back into the joint.
Got it. So that's why a lot of times if you're getting treatments, it's good to go on like kind of like a regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely. So regular basis, because like you're an athlete for years. There's certain things, your muscles are structured a certain way. You start to develop patterns. So it takes time to break those patterns. And then we want to retrain the muscles and ligaments to hold the correct position. So it does take time and repetition to do that.
Well, it's just so fascinating, because in like the last, 30 years, the view of chiropractic care has just totally done a 180.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and for us too, we have a focus. We see a lot of pediatrics, so kids with ADHD, anxiety, all the way to autism, people on the spectrum, and sensory processing disorder. Because what we do, and we've got technology in our office that does these scans that tells how their nervous system actually responds to stress.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can actually get the pressure off of the nervous system and get that regulated, then their body's able to calm naturally. So instead of the parents it get to the point where I don't know what to do. I don't want to put them on meds and just kind of drug them out. So what do I do? So when we can regulate their nervous system, they no longer need the medication, and they start to process, and they start to do better in school, and they start to get better grades, and they're not getting in trouble at home. So we see a lot of kids for that right now, because unfortunately, man, it's just getting worse and worse. The amount of ADHD from kids early, just being on the phone, and all the sensory stuff we have now that we didn't have growing up. Like growing up, we had maybe the Game Boy, and even at first it was just black and white. Now they have tablets and all these things that are getting their attention, and it's overstimulating their nervous system, and it's leading to a lot of complications.
Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe for more, and visit nickhyder.com.